Well, you see, first thing is we need to realize that at first it's subtle. Apathy, chronic fatigue, the constant need to numb through screens and substances or busyness. But then that escalates. And that's when the panic attack starts. Health breakdowns, existential dreads. I call it the silent panic. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, it's a slow internal unraveling. Because the life they built no longer fits the self that's evolving inside of them.
So, what would you say to someone that's in that place, who's already burned out, but feels like they can't just stop?
Well, I'll tell them, you're not broken. And in this moment, it's very much possible that you're awakening. They're feeling the cost of a life lived out of alignment with their deeper truth. And yes, it can be terrifying because what got you here might not really take you further. But you see, it's also sacred. It's the first whisper of a new season where you're not failing. You're being invited to redefine what success actually means and what it actually means for you.
I love that. Recognizing it as the first whisper of a new season instead of being terrified of it. So, yeah, that's a good way to think about it. Have you seen people come through that?
Yeah, absolutely. Here's another example. One client of mine, she was a high profile litigator, famous in her industry. She told me, I've won every battle and now I just want peace. And that clarity became her turning point. She didn't quit her job, but she completely redefined how she showed up to it. So sometimes you see the shift is dramatic, but more often it's deeply subtle, but life altering.
Wow. That's a good way to look at it. But let's zoom out for a moment, because you said before, this isn't just about the individual. It's cultural, it's systemic. So what do you mean by that?
Well, you see, we live in a culture that rewards productivity over presence, performance over authenticity. From a young age, we're conditioned to measure our worth through doing. But it doesn't stop there. The macro, which is our systems, our media, our markets, start to shape the micros. It shows up in our diets, our relationships, even how we define abundance. Take food, for example. We have normalized consuming what numbs rather than what nourishes. We want fast food, fast content, fast everything. We don't chew anymore. We want to scroll. Everything fast paced, as if we're in this huge rush. In relationships, we've confused abundance with excess. More validation, more stimulation, more physical contact. But true abundance, it's intimacy, it's depth, it's being fully seen and not constantly being pursued. And in success, we've confused abundance with accumulation. More money, more titles, more visibility. But the real abundance might be less visible. It's peaceful, rest, inner congruence, the ability to say no and still feel worthy. All of these, like very subtle, soft, human part of us that made us who we are, that we've forgotten.
Right. So, in a way, we're living inside someone else's definition of joy. their definition of love or success. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And to make this really tangible, think about Sisyphus in Greek mythology. We've all seen this image where he was condemned to push a boulder up a hill only to have it roll down each time. And that's exactly how high achievers feel. They're climbing a hill they didn't even choose, but the world applauds the climb. So they have to take a pause. You see, and all of us really, we have to take a pause and ask, what game am I playing? And do I actually want the prize? In Vedanta, there's a concept of samsara, and it's actually the cycle of striving, becoming, unraveling, and rebirth. What feels like a breakdown might just be the softest part of your becoming, a space between identities, where the old story no longer fits and the new hasn't fully formed. That liminal phase, that's the holy ground.
Whew. Wow, that was a lot to take in, and I love that perspective. It just shines a new light on things. So for the high achievers listening to this, the ones who's tired but afraid to stop, what would you want them to hear right now?
I would say you don't have to burn it all down, but you do have to come home to yourself. Start by asking the real questions, not the resume ones. Who am I when I'm not achieving? What makes me feel alive, not just successful? Things like, where am I performing and what would it feel like to be fully human instead? And above all, what am I chasing that I already have within me? And it's okay to be in transition, you see, to grieve the old story, to not have the next one fully written. And that liminal space, that's where the new truths begin.
Prim, that is so beautiful and deeply personal. We're not here to demonize achievement. We're here to liberate it from the cage of performance, to make room for something deeper, more whole, more human. Because that version of you, intuitive, honest, wildly human, is still in there, waiting to be remembered. And remembering takes time. It takes stillness. It takes learning to feel again.
Yeah. And sometimes we need a disruption to hear that version of ourselves again. That's what we'll explore in episode 2. Because for many, the truth doesn't come through thinking harder. It comes through something deeper. Something that shifts the mental noise long enough for clarity to break through. So take 5 minutes after this episode. Write something down. It doesn't have to be polished, just honest. What are you chasing? And what would it feel like to stop chasing and start choosing?
Yes, I love that. And I love what you said earlier. You don't have to burn your life down to begin again. Sometimes the most radical thing you can do is pause and feel.
Yes, absolutely. If this episode stirred something in you, sit with it. Let the questions echo. Let the emotions rise without rushing to fix them. Because what feels like unraveling might just be the start of coming home. In our next episode, we'll talk about what happens when the noise quiets and the deeper truths start to surface through altered states, emotional clarity, and unexpected breakthroughs. And if you're ready to go deeper, we would love to support you. Visit pblifecoaching.com. to book your free discovery call, explore integration therapy, or simply start a conversation. If this stirred something in you, don't let it pass by. Share it with someone who might need it. Once again, welcome to Unsubscribe. We're just getting started.